I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me. And he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it. I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
Well, we're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening. So wake up with Michele Meiche. Be pleased to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening. Understand what living awake is. Hello, gang. You're going to hear me tinkling back here with my little frother and wonderful little Danish filtered coffee. I'm doing my decaf coconut milk and almond milk latte. It's latte time in SoCal. It's been chilly here. Welcome, everyone. If you are new, great to have you here. And those of you that are tried and true, always great to be with you here. It really is. You make my heart sing. So however you found Awakenings with Michele Meiche, welcome. It's Michele Meiche and crew and gang and soul lights. As always, you can listen in chat. Just want to run through this a little bit. You can listen by the internet, your computer, chat, phone. If you want to listen by phone, the number is 347-539-5122 and press 1 on your keypad. And if you have a question, a comment, or you want a reading, or you want your voice to be heard, press 1. Press 1 now. Press 1 on the keypad. 347-539-5122. 347-539-5122. Press 1 on the keypad. Got Paolo Dioro coming on in a little bit. Artist, creator, and a fellow traveler on the path will be joining us. Let's see. Hello, Queen Goddess in the house. Queen, hello, welcome. Good to see you. And I'm going to give that number again, 347-539-5122. If you have a question or a comment, because I see a lot of people in the switchboard, but if you want to get in the queue for a reading, question, or comment, press 1 on the keypad. So we're going to be talking, diving in a little bit about awakening and the consciousness of perception, and what does that mean actually. I'm going to dive into that a little bit with you, the 4 stages of awakening from an esoteric point of view, from a spiritualism point of view. And it is kind of broad. We'll tap into that a little bit. And then Paolo will be jumping on later, and we'll be connecting. Also want to remind everyone that on May 20th, Saturday, May 20th, and I'll put the link in the chat, that I am doing a workshop on key codes, but it's a workshop combined with frequency and vibrational sound healing. So we'll be doing a transmission, so we're going to be doing key code activation and sound healing transmission with Grace O. And, of course, I do not have all that with me. Let me see if I can put it in the chat, or if someone could put it in the chat for me. I keep forgetting. Anyway, if that's something you're interested in, you can go to courses and events on soulplayground.life. I'm going to put it in my Insta stories. Also union.fit and put my name in, or I'm going to put the link in the description box later. Or if you're interested in that or other upcoming situations, upcoming soul happenings, situationes, you can always email me at info@soulplayground.life, info@soulplayground.life, and put you on the listy. Put you on the listy. We got Sue here. Hello, Sue. There we go. All right. Want to hear how everybody's doing. So if you're in the chat or on the phone, let me know. So I thought this was really important. In my meditation today, I was getting a lot with projection and perception and where we are in the path of awakening. And you've probably noticed in your own life as you start healing more and becoming, which simply means more wholeness, you start integrating parts of you, that maybe for you are troublesome, or your gifts. That's a part of healing. So healing really means bringing balance into your life, or wholeness. So it would mean that submerged parts of us, whether we perceive them to be our gifts or whether we perceive them to be something we don't want, we start bringing those up. And I know a lot of people talk about, Sue, yes, me too. Excited to see Paolo. By the way, not to tell it yet, but heads up and sneak peek, we're doing something in June. Let's see, I'm putting it in the chat, but I don't want to announce it now. Oh, yay, Sue. Wonderful. Wow. That is such great news. Wow. That is really great news. Really happy for you. Wow. That's a big step. So, so there's a lot with the shadow material. And shadow, narrowly looked at, it's looked at it as something we don't like, that's hidden from us. Like people are saying, oh, their shadow material is up. But it's anything that we've projected outward. So there is shadow material. I remember one of my teachers, in Jungian psychology, that a good example that they gave was the rock star back in the day, back in the 90s, 80s, 70s, 80s. I guess it was always, in the 60s or 50s, there was Elvis and who knows who else. But you see the girls, and I was studying in England, so they were talking about the Beatles back in the day, and other big rock bands. I guess Beatles really weren't rock, though. I don't think of them as rock, but anyway, I digress. It's a whole other story. I'm thinking of Ozzy. Ozzy Osbourne. Now, there we're talking about some rock. Okay, anyway, Metallica. Rage Against the Machine. Anyway, so they would say, all these girls swooning, right? I mean, some guys probably swoon too, but, screaming and, I don't know, Justin Bieber, back in the day. And so that's projected out energy on idols. This is why in the awakenings phase, and as we get more into the Aquarian age, you're seeing, and I know some people hate this term, I like it, leveling the playing field. You're going to see less idolization, less stars, like the reality stars. That's intermediary level. The next is you're the star in your own life, and you can really see this about in the 90s. That's when I started channeling this information about this, like the stock market being used by everyday people, regular people, that you're not going to have to go through a stockbroker. People are going to be trading on their own, researching, doing it on their own and on computer. So that means, yes, we're still going to have teachers and mentors, but the projection's not going to be there. It's going to be, hey, this person's neat or cool. I like what they do. I'm inspired by them. Not, oh, my God, they're the most amazing thing in the world. Oh, my God. And you're not going to see the Kim K, bots that are running around. Right now, or Marilyn Monroe back in the day. People wanted to look like her. People wanted to look like Madonna. So that whole idea of this projected image of power, of coolness, of hipness, of artistic ability, of whatever it is. And a lot of people, that's what the old marketing is based on. It's not based on truth, because all those images were to some degree are fabrications. They don't take in the person's lonely nights or whatever they're going through, right? So that was the lower level of the Piscean era, and believe me, we have to unfortunately go through the lower level of the Aquarian era also. I mean, that's where we're at now, and all the divisiveness and and cults, the cult of belief. You've got to believe my side. You've got to totally be on my side. Which, by the way, I had an interesting situation with that. Maybe I'll come back to that through Patreon, but it was such a good example because I love my Patreon community, but we did have something happen in there, and I want to talk about it. I did. I had to witness something. So anyway, as we reclaim this, and I think this is social media, even though there is a narcissistic side to social media, it's only the unhealed people that are just trying to say, I just want a lot of followers, look at me, and doing just outrageous things. It's, unless that's your thing, outrageous things, But I feel like the lens of technology, the idea of social media and communication and getting into different forms of media, finding your medium or mediums, is the soul saying, I want to express in a wider way. So there is this awakening collective in all areas of our life that is basically the soul bursting through. Think of the sun coming through the clouds. It's bursting through, saying, I am that I am. But people aren't used to their individual selves. They're not used to their uniqueness. It gets projected out onto, who knows, I don't know, P. Diddy, Drake, I don't know, Picasso, it doesn't matter. Whatever generation, it gets projected out. Instead of those people being inspiration, people then want to be them. Instead of take a trait that's similar within you and go, hey, I kind of like that too. I'm going to switch it up and do it this way. So we're moving out of that. So there's a lot of projection. There always has been. There's very little perception. Unless as you get to higher levels of consciousness, you move into perception. You move into perceiving, which is what I do as a channel. That's what you need to do telepathically. When we connect into our intuition, which everyone has, you're moving out of projection and into perception, into the perceiving of what is. And the more undiluted spiritual energy you have, the more objective you can be in your perception. And so this part of the awakening is really important because there's a struggle. There's a tug-of-war and struggle between, in all these projections, people projecting on them, on other people what something means or doesn't mean, or what you are, like when I years ago started eating meat, and I've been on this road a long time. I was vegan and living actually in Paris at one point before the people even knew about vegan, and I had to order and change menu, and I was vegetarian. I don't know for how many years, 20 years. I did raw food when it was not very popular. I tried a lot of things. I always go by my body, what my body needs, and my intuition. And I remember talking about it, mentioning sometime on this podcast a few years ago, how after being, vegan for 7 years and vegetarian for, 20 years, all of a sudden I needed meat. My body was craving it. And, I can't believe you did that, Michele. I thought you were spiritual and all this. And I'm like, wow, you are so neophyte. So there's going to be a lot between, especially now in 2030, that kind of rocks and rolls us, shakes us out of these narratives that we have, these mental constructs that are neat and tidy for the ego. In other words, if you're spiritual, you do this. If you're, Republican, you do this. If you're a Democrat, you do this. If you're a Tory, you do this. If you're in the Labor Party, you do. If you're for women's rights, you do this. If you're not into Me Too, you're not into women's rights. So all these things that are just, honestly, as a starseed, they're so low vibrational, they're so limiting, and so, frankly, in my mind, stupid. I just don't even like to have to get involved with it because it's just not even common sense. I mean, people want it to be this life, this tic-tac-toe, and it's like so low vibrational. It's like, wow. And I know this because back in the day when I was modeling and I was in these Bible Belt countries, and I had some models when I stayed in models' apartments that were afraid because they heard of me, that does the tarot, that, oh my God, Michele, she's nice, she's beautiful, she's this, but I don't know, she's a tarot reader. or I don't know if she's of the devil. You know, some of these, and you got to remember, I thought it was funny, and I had empathy because a lot of the girls that I was, you know, in these apartments with, they were a lot younger than than I was, and they hadn't really traveled around, and they hadn't studied, obviously, metaphysics. But at the time, one of my trainings, you had to study various religions, and it was like a comparative religion course. And I mean, we had to know, you know, a lot of verses, and we had to take the Bible beyond earlier versions than King James, and compare it to the Aramaic and also the metaphysical Bible. So I would spin out these verses, and I would have these questions, and then it was fun for me. Then I kind of, everywhere I went, I encountered people like this, I would get in these debates. And because at the time, you know, when you're studying something, it's so fresh, I had the receipts, basically. Let's just put it that way. And 9 times out of 10, when I pushed people, and some people, they'd get on the phone, they'd bring their boyfriend on the phone, or they'd come over, or family member, and you know what I heard? What the reasoning was for most of them, when you whittled it down to their beliefs, was a sheer terror and panic. What if we believe what isn't true? You know, what should we believe? And I go, do your research. There's the internet. Get on the internet. Look at the internet. You know, books. Put it together what works for you. Don't just blindly believe something, especially if it's been adulterated, you know, over the years, over the centuries. But people would, and then I would hear, well, that's too much work. I don't know if I want to spend time doing that. But the basic thing was, if we don't believe in this, what are we going to believe in? How scary is that? But that's most of our population in the mainstream world. If I don't believe the narrative that's given to me on television or news or from the government or from whatever institution, am I going to be safe? Am I going to be taken care of? Am I something bad going to happen to me? You know, am I not going to get into heaven or wherever? Shambhala. And so there's going to be systematically, especially with this Uranian energy in Taurus, systematically Saturn in, Pisces does this, Neptune in Pisces does this. Anything that's false, that isn't really truly spiritual, is going to become irritations, pebbles in your shoe, or rocks in your shoe. It is like, because the soul, when we get into higher levels of consciousness, when we connect into the higher self, we're not as rigid or fixed. We don't stay stuck in the extremes of the polarity. So one of the things that happens in the awakening stage is we've got the crises, which is the choice point. Some crises external or that impacts us and starts affecting us internally. Then we move into dweller on the threshold, and that's basically, oh shit, what the hell is happening to me in my life, or what's happening to the world, what's happening to the stock market. Now we're on the threshold of something, and usually we do a lot of inner work, a lot of contemplation, we get help, we read, we research, I don't know if it's on Netflix, YouTube, whatever. You start researching. You're like, I got to find out what the hell. You start finding podcasts like this and other similar ones. And the metaphysical axiom on dweller on the threshold is not to dwell too long, because that's when you have opposition come in. Like people go, I started opening up, and then all this stuff started happening. Well, you get what's within you and what's in the world that is a counterbalance. It's counter intentional to your intention. That could be naysayers, family. What are you doing? Why are you changing? That's friends calling you out, leaving. Why are you believing that? Why'd you quit smoking? Why'd you quit drinking? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? Or who do you think you are? You start getting you get it within your head, your own mind too. But it is the collective narrative that is basically popping off on you. The collective narrative is coming through, either your own inner dialogue or friends, family, spouse, whomever in your life. And then what starts to happen is initiation. You become initiate. And this is when stuff starts happening. you could call it both good or bad. Oh my God, I start seeing 1111. I'm getting guided. I met this cool person. I found your podcast. Oh my God, it's helping me where I'm at. I read this book. Oh my God, I saw this person. Or I met this I can't believe it. Or I got this great yoga class. You see what starts happening? You start getting initiated. But in the initiation also, there are testing. This is where the alchemical energy comes in. There starts being tests, things that you need to overcome or that you need to look at. And then when you look at them, you start overcoming them, you become empowered. You feel your interconnectedness. You realize, wow, I have this inner guide in me. I have this interconnectedness. I have this higher self. Or when I pray or when I meditate, this happens. Or when I chant, this happens. Or when you get initiated. And then from that initiation, you become a disciple. And when you're a disciple, it simply means discipline. You start from the initiation period, you start seeing what works in your life. Oh, when I feel this way, I do this and this happens. Or when I see this sign, you start using the tools. You have a spiritual practice. You're recognizing you're on a soul path, depending what path you're on. But there's some discipline. It's like somebody wanting to be a ballerina, or let's say a football player, and or a soccer player, or a pianist. I want to be a musician. Okay, that's a great idea, but even before you get on stage or get out on that field, you have disciplines, you have exercises to do, you have a diet, you have nutrition, you have time in the gym, are you running outdoors or walking or doing strength training, what mind exercises, whatever, all of it. Are you getting massage? That's the discipleship. That's when you get disciplined. And I think that's one of the hardest things for people to do, is that initiation to discipleship, is because it's hard sometimes for people to use their tools. They learn things, but then to daily do it and trust that it's going to get you where you need to be on a soul level. And when you start doing that, you become an adept. And an adept has a level of mastery under the lower self, right? When you're that adept, you're the goat. You're the goat, right? You, especially in your field, you become very skilled at your path and manifesting and whatever. But we always cycle back through. I mean, you really don't need to go back to that. I mean, we have crises, and every time there's a new level, we do get initiated. But when you're operating from the disciple or adept aspect, and it takes a long time, because when you become adept, you start seeing the world beyond the extremes of duality or the extremes of the polarity plane. You are not, and I will repeat this, if you are a true starseed and you are an adept, you're not going to be in any extremes of the polarity. It's just not only mentally, emotionally impossible, it's impossible now from a vibrational level for you to get locked in or pocketed in. And that's where we're going, and thank God, because that's so freeing, right? So I'm going to recap what we got in the chat, then we're going to get to callers. Sue, very cool, very cool, very cool. So I had a very interesting thing, and this ties in with what I want to share, and then we'll get to callers, 347-539-5122. I absolutely love my Patreon group. I love the people there. I love what we do. I feel such a passion and purpose there. We dive into stuff like I'm talking about. This is stuff that a lot of people don't. It's advanced info. Let's just put it that way. So advanced metaphysics, intermediate to advanced metaphysics, spiritualism. We go into alchemy. I touch on astrology, but a lot of people are not astrologers, so I kind of keep it like I do on this podcast because it's just one lens. Touch on numerology, of course, tarot, and the pick of cards. I do readings for people on the Patreon, and I love it. Well, we recently had someone there that I don't even know. I don't know how they found me, but I'm always open. I mean, I don't have to know you or see, your icon or whatever. And I had been sharing what had happened with the guest from about a month ago that was very jarring and disruptive, and gave a wonderful example of what we're learning in Patreon, recognizing if you're reacting from the ego or wounding, responding from the ego. Not that it's bad to respond from the ego, but if you're going to be an adept, you need to know the levels of consciousness that you're responding from. You need to understand and know and feel when you are connecting in through the higher self. Because when I'm channeling, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get the little Michele, the beautiful, wonderful ego Michele, human Michele, out of the way. And that raises our vibrational frequency. It's not that it's bad. It's just, think of it as there's less diluted energy, less diluted knowledge. There's less filtering. So that's, of course, mastery, or, operating from that adept aspect of being. So the person really came in at me, and this is so interesting because whether it's this podcast, and probably when we start doing stuff on YouTube and Rumble, I'm going to bring more current events in because I do like and show, where we're at in the awakening process due to what's coming up. But this person really laid into me, and you could just feel the vitriol in the comment on my sharing of where we're at. And because I had mentioned, and I will underscore this, that I guess our guest had said that we need gun control. Guns are not the issue, it's consciousness. Just like when people tell me, slavery or racism, I'm like, hey, we've had slavery since the beginning of time on this planet. So if we want to really deal with stuff, we've had victim abuse, power over, underpower, bullying, ever since hieroglyphics, gang, ever since the petroglyphs. You can see it in the writings, okay? We had war. It's the invader culture. There's the invader-dominator culture. It's a misalignment of the Lemurian and Atlantean energies. It's the, people say tribal, but it's even beyond. It's beyond tribal, and it's wired in us, in our, medulla oblongata, in the instinctual brain and limbic, that intersection. We feel fear, this lashing out. But I know, as a therapist, as a teacher, as a metaphysician, and as a psychic channel and a trance and conscious channel that has channeled world events, it's not the guns, gang. Not the guns. There's the conscious. There's something going on, and it's not. And these kind of questions I usually don't like answering on, like when people comment on. Back in the day when I was more on Facebook. Thank God I don't get it too much on Instagram, or not at all, really. But Facebook still has some kind of lower energies, so people will respond. They like to respond in the negative or try to, bring you down kind of thing. I've noticed that. It's funny for me but this is the baby steps of the soul, because we now get to express our truth and our opinion. And people don't know how to do it yet from the higher level, so they do it from tearing someone down. What do you know about this? Or if you really want to do something, do this. Or what about this? And you can just feel the energy coming through, like, oh, my God, you feel so bad and worthless. So now you have to attack. So anyway, this person laid into me saying, I can't believe what you do, and you thought that this person, the guest, that's no way as bad as what's happening with the children or the teenagers with the guns and shooting people. And I never said that. In fact, I thought what happened with the guest was a great teaching experience. I got a lot out of it. I learned a lot, and it was a great teaching tool for the individual people I work with, and most importantly, the Patreon, because we had just been talking about this and doing some deep dives and looking at ourselves. So I took the time, and I was traveling, and I thought, I've got to address this now because I can't just let it go. So I did a very thoughtful post about my perception and my intention and my experience. I've worked with at-risk youth. I'm like, put your money where your mouth is, babe, because I've went to the juvie halls. I've worked with adults. I've worked with parents. I've worked with kids that have been molested, abused, sexually assaulted, raped. I've donated books to, juvenile facilities. I've gone and taught meditation and with at-risk youth in high schools, middle schools. I've done programs with young children, with getting in touch with their inner you and with art and meditation. I've done, tech talks bringing this. So, and I've taught school, and I know what it is. The thing is, to handle this issue, it's going to be such a multi-pronged situation. It's education. It's also when there is something going on. Most of these people that act out, most of these children or teenagers or 20-somethings, usually they're teenage boys. There's a reason they're teenage boys, gang, because look at not only video violence, but that's a small part of it. It's the narrative that we teach boys, and the fitting in, and the bullying is a part of it, but also mental health. When there's something that goes on at a school, let me tell you how many times they document. I remember teaching, and we had suspected, and I mean suspected from the fact that there was physical evidence of some kind of SA on a little girl, and the psychologist comes in and talks, but they can't ask direct questions because they can't be leading. That's a lawsuit. In schools, you will have the tome of documentation. You will have binders of documentation. We document Child Protective Services, CPS, document. It's very difficult to do something. And there isn't the outlets. I see a direct correlation with this violence also to less or no art and physical activity in schools. A lot of schools, you don't have to go to you don't want to go? You don't have to get that aggression, anger out, or just extra energy. Oh, there's no art. We don't have money for art program. Oh, we don't really know art. We don't need art programs. So these outlets, so there's such a pronged level. So, I shared that, and I said, look, and I don't even really want to discuss this here. This isn't the place, and it's just I can't do the service. It's really those kinds of conversations need to be, I feel, person to person. They can be on Zoom or whatever, but you need to look at the person in the eye, go back and forth, and have a dialogue. And it's not just one conversation, and here's the example. And to me, this is our world. We're so skewed to focus on the symptoms of things because there's a lot of either money and power or control in focusing only on the symptoms. Like focus on the cold or the flu, but don't focus on the immune system. Don't focus on better health by going outdoors or, mental emotional health or, your gut, your immune system, right? Certain supplements. So I just saw that and I thought, wow, this is just so low-level vibration. But I had to address it because a lot of people think that. And then the person sent me a link from a very overly left-wing, and I would probably have been considered left-wing or progressive. I don't know. I don't have a title anymore because I believe in so many different things. It's a hodgepodge. I just really tune in to my moral compass or what I feel or see is best. And I do research on both sides or three sides or four, how many sides there are before I make a definitive decision. I, do my research. So what did they send me? A link, because I said I listed all the things that are being done or were being done, how I've helped in the issue and how others have. And, of course, they send a link with a psychologist, but see, this is, you got to be careful where you get your information because the link was to a website that has a narrative that is very gun control and other things that go along with that. And we don't have to get into that. And the psychologist said the first thing they need to do is gun control. Well, to me, that is not a very conscious and definitely not a very astute or researched psychologist because that's not the first thing we need to do. It's like the phones, when people were blaming the phones for distraction or ADD And I remember when I was teaching meditation at Agape Spiritual Center, it was based on my book, Meditation for Everyday Living. I based the curriculum. I would do an exercise because I have no problem my phone ringing or people texting or calling me, and if I'm doing something else, I don't pick up. Or if I'm meditating, I don't feel guilt that I'm not picking up that phone. So I had a process where I said, everybody put your phone out, and we'd hand it to someone else, like you'd have pairs, and we'd go into meditation, and then the other person that they were paired with would call. They'd had their number. Had the person gave them the number. They would call. Let me tell you the amount of anxiety. I got to get the phone. People were reaching or they were upset. And so we talked about that. And people would mostly blame other people. Oh, my girlfriend, if I don't pick up right away, she's upset with me or worried. Or it's my work. I have to pick up right away. Or I never know who this is. And I'm like, well, you could always look at it and see what's the message. If it's an emergency, you can call back. But you don't have to reactively pick up that phone. Now, I've been around a while. I saw this earlier on. We've always had these distractions. It's just technology enhances it and gives us more ways to have distractions. But these distractions have been in our society for a very, very long time. People not wanting to settle and center and, focus within or want to get away from what they're feeling. Maybe back in the day, maybe it was drugs, alcohol, television, movies, not afraid to be alone, having to, be with someone all the time. These kinds of things. Now the phone, because you are with someone with the phone, usually you're engaging on social media or some kind of social app. So it is that connection into the other. It's being stuck on the projection of things, that everything is projected out, instead of coming in from that space of perception when you're perceiving the interconnectedness of everything and everyone. And you're perceiving it not just visually, but also through the feeling nature of your being. So, yeah, it's very... very interesting times right now, and I see it as the layers and levels of the awakening, and I can tell if somebody's newbie or are they caught in a projection. That's why I have my projection perception. If you want to know more about that, you can go to my website. I have a whole write-up, blog posts, exercises on taking back projection, understanding projection, what is perception, how do you move more into perception to really perceive? Because the more you can perceive what is, which is the state of meditation, which is oneness, is samadhi, the higher vibrational frequency you will be emitted in living from. When we're stuck in projection, it's a very, very low-level binary. It's even creativity. It's not even tapping into your own creative essence when you're stuck in that. And that's why people project, is because they perceive, they need, or they think and feel they need their power from outside themselves. So anyway, I hope this sharing has been interesting for you. I love the Patreon community. We have a great time there. I love sharing there. I share behind the scenes, what I'm doing, where I'm going, what I'm traveling, the downloads I get from the Oversouls and the guides, the trends that I'm seeing. I answer questions for people, do readings. It's really, I'm feeling really fulfilled and blessed by the connections there. But it is not a place. In fact, I did a emailing to like clients and people that have worked with me over the years that are on my Soul Happenings list, inviting people to Patreon to sign up for that if they want more support and want to learn more and share more of themselves. But I said it's not the place you're going to find everybody's like-minded. There's a like-minded interconnection, a baseline, but you don't have to believe like everyone else does. I have plenty of clients that voted for Trump, some that didn't, some that hated, some that did Biden, some that did, I don't know, Bush, who else, Clinton, whatever. It doesn't matter, because the powers that be, the controlling of this narrative, this game, is not by religion. It's not by political affiliation or identity. It's a very old, entrusted and encrusted crew with a lot of Freemasonry, alchemical, astrological, ancient tarot, and some deep dive metaphysicians and esotericists in their own right that are beyond all that, but use that to control. So just a reminder, if you're stuck in one extreme of the polarity, how conscious can you be? Because that means you're only looking at one side, one part. And if you're having triggering come up, like this person was so triggered, I mean, you could just tell how angry they were. They were just, and I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Let's get to know each other. Let's talk. And I was triggered because I had to take the time to address that. And I said, oh my God, this is not what this is about. This is advanced metaphysics. This is not pop culture metaphysics. This is not baby metaphysics that has to do with if you wear white or not, or you do yoga, or if you eat meat or not, or you believe in global warming. Those are all human baby symptoms. We're talking consciousness, baby. That's what I like dealing in, is consciousness. You know, let's get to root causes, not the symptom of things. You know, if you keep getting colds, the lower consciousness just has you getting the cold medicine. The higher consciousness goes, I wonder if there's anything going on in this. Is it structural? Is it environmental? Is it mental, emotional? Or is it just a passing phase I'm going through? Is it something I'm eating? Oh, maybe it is an allergy to dairy. Oh, yeah, I had an allergy test. I've got an allergy to dairy, and that's why my nose has been running. That's where I'm at. So I hope you're there too, and if you're not, that's fine. If you want to be in one extreme and that's where you're comfortable, guess what, gang? I'm comfortable with that. I'm okay with that. However, just don't send the anger balls to people that aren't. That's all I'm saying. And if you do, I'm comfortable with that too, because I see you and I go, you're triggered, honey, and that means you have a chance to awaken. That means the higher self is trying to get to you. Your triggering is showing where you need healing. And we all get triggered, and we all need healing. And that, once you get to higher levels of consciousness, you just understand that that's part of the game, and that's okay. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it all, because that's just the spirit of consciousness. All right, let's get to callers, and then when Paolo comes on, I don't know where he is, we will connect with him as well. Hey, you're on air. Hi.
Hey, Michelle, it's Zoe.
Hey, Zoe. Hi.
Ciao.
How are you?
Super excited.
Ciao.
I love connecting, and I always seem to call in when Paolo is calling.
Well, okay. If you have a question for him, he's definitely going to be. He's going to be chiming into what I've been talking about, and probably doing readings and whatever else he does. You know.
I love this. I love what you're touching base on, because I definitely feel it falling into play here. You know, all the old ways. But,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
people get twisted on it too.
Away.
Yeah, but
they're so stuck in these old patterns.
Yeah, it's like, and I get I admit sharing that my wasn't even triggered. I was just annoyed because I thought, now I got to write. You can't just write a sentence or two. I got to write a whole long ass paragraph on this, and still the person didn't hear. They only wanted me to agree with them, and I think that's probably why they joined the group. Is because they thought I was a certain way because of what I do and how I look. People assume a lot by how I look, and she's a psychic, she must think this way. And then when I think another way, then they're like, oh my God, I thought you were, I got called out one time with the vax because I wasn't telling people to not take it. I was saying, hey, I'm not doing it. I won't. I wouldn't. I have my children do it, but if people that are doing it, that's your medical decision. And in the chat, oh, Michelle's supposed to be this big psychic, and she's this, she's not very involved. And boy, it's so old paradigm for people to tell you what to believe, you know.
It's playing out so hard right now. It's like, what about this? You know, I just been, you know, I was like, you know, I really don't have space to give that energy right now. So if you want to participate in this way or that way, like, great. But if not, like, I don't really want to get into it. And it's not that I don't want to have discussion. It's just like, you know, if that's your truth, great. That's your truth. I'm on a different frequency, and it seems to be working out for me. And I know it's really hard for a lot of people to just let be, to kind of surrender to, I don't know, you know, higher powers at will or whatever. But it's, you know, people are like, well, you have to take action, you have to. And I was like, maybe I don't, you know, like maybe I just need to be still. You know, I was like, everything happening in my life right now is asking me to be still and to really tune in to what is the truth, you know. And it's going to be different for everybody, and not everybody is going to hit their awakening point or even want to digest it at this point, you know.
Yeah, and not everyone is meant to. That's not everybody's function. But what does need to happen, and will eventually, is the place or space for people to have those different viewpoints, points of view, and ways of living. Because right now people are trying to fit people into these narrow boxes that if you have to believe all of it, right? If you believe A, then that means you have to believe all these 30 things, or that negates that. Or if you're on side B, you have to agree all these things. And I see it trip. You know, I see it trip people up. But you know what? It's also funny, Zoe, because I saw that even with culture or race, being multiracial, I am, that would trip people up because they wanted one or the other. You know, like, where are you from, or where do you do, or how could you believe this? Or, you know, it's just the ego. It is a lower level of consciousness because the ego really only likes the one or two. It doesn't like the gray area or blendings of things. It doesn't understand that. You know, it really wants, like, you're doing this or you're not doing this. It doesn't really open to possibilities or unfolding or process. That's why it's so difficult for people to process things or keep things to process, is because they're not comfortable in the unfolding, in the ambiguity. You know, they don't know how to relate, right?
It's such a big thing right now too, and there's still people like, well, this is right, and I know my facts, and I have the information. You know, I'm using all this information and education. It's like, yeah, but you're still missing the point. You know, it's not about the gender. It's not about this. It's about breaking down these old, you know, structures of it has to be right or left or black or white, or, you know, because that's not where we're at. It's not what we're moving into. It's like, it doesn't have to be me against them. You know, it just has to be, maybe this is just to break down the barrier of, you know, it's not about having all these different genders necessarily, but it's about that we're all possessing them, and how do we get more comfortable with tapping into them and out of this old super masculine, super feminine, super, you know.
Exactly. Well, in that, really, like, biologically, there are only two genders, but how do we embody that? Yeah. That can change. And, of course, like what you're saying, the thing is because we're in the baby stages, people are hyper-focused on the physical of how it looks. And it's like when we want to rebel, you know, we get an extra earring, or we get tats, or we, you know, mohawk our hair or whatever from our parents. That's what people are doing. They're doing it all externally, and they're not really looking within. It's like, oh, well, if I dress this way, that makes me this. If I dress this way, it makes me that. or if I call myself a this. And eventually, for many people, it will get into the internal. It's going to take a very, very long time because, I mean, the planet, the Earth, there's a due to a lot of wounding, there's an immaturity there. We're still very much stuck, and plus we've been playing things out through the Earth plane. So it is a lot about the physical. But as we're moving more into the mental realm of things, people are going to begin to get concepts better, I do feel. Because people are so hooked up on the addressing people by what you can see, what seems to be tangible. Right? It doesn't compute, you know. And,
it doesn't compute to everybody yet. And I think it's really important, too, for a lot of people to understand. It's our job to do the awakening for ourselves, like what you're talking about earlier in the show. It's like, do the research and feel what feels good to you, because each person's truth is going to be different, and it's not our job to forcefully put our truth or our information that we've awakened to onto other people. That's each person's journey. And I think that's the biggest thing right now is people trying to, I prove this and look at how this, and that's the biggest thing that I think is, for people. It's like, listen, everybody's on their journey. If people ask you and you can share and they want to hear your opinion, great, but it's not our job to force it.
And there's different types of awakening people. Also, right? Because somebody could be so awake, let's say they're awakening in the educational system, and that's where their awakenings is, and maybe not spiritually, or maybe they're, an atheist, or they don't believe in God, or they just believe in science, but they're bringing an awakening to that arena in the scientific area or something, So that's another thing people have to keep aware that it's not just spiritual awakening. That's a small part of the. I almost feel like the earth is breathing deeper. It's like contractions right now. It's like like different areas. The breath is getting faster and faster because people are staying locked in their approach. It's the lower level of Aquarius, which is cults. It's you have to believe how I believe, otherwise you're going to get ostracized or hurt or whatever. And so people, they're not yet going within. I mean, some are, and it's great to see that. But hey, Zoe, speaking of Paolo, he's on the line, so I'm going to have Chance come back around to you. Okay.
Okay, I love you guys. I'll check in later. Yeah.
Yeah, stay on because I think you have a question for him. I feel right.
Yeah.
I knew it. Okay, hold on. Because I don't know if I can bring both. What happens if I do that? Oh, I can. Let's see. Yeah, why can't I? I've done it before, right? Paolo, you on air?
I am.
Hey, Paolo. So everybody, Paulo's back.
Yeah,
I'm back.
Hello,
it's like
Paolo.
Yes, and Zoe's on air with you, wanting to say hello.
Oh,
got a question.
Okay. Hello,
I don't know how
Zoe.
long you've been listening, but
I've been listening.
Hello,
You what?
I've been listening.
Oh, cool.
I love it.
Okay.
I love your laugh and your energy, Paolo. I always seem to just wake up and tune in when you're calling. So yeah, I kind of wanted to touch base a little bit on what we're talking about too, because I think a lot of people are having a bit of a problem. Like for me, I have a lot of things going on in life right now, and I know, everybody wants me to really focus on this, very, earthly plane. And I'm like, listen, I feel in my soul that I have to kind of just surrender to what is coming. Everybody's like, well, what are you going to do? You have to move. You have to do all this stuff. And I was like, but it hasn't come into manifestation. And this is so hard for people. And I'm like, when it comes, then I will know, and then I will be able to move forward. But until then, I cannot forcefully try to create a solution for things if it hasn't manifested into the physical plane yet, you know. I don't know.
Zoe, real quick, you're an initiation.
Yeah.
You're an initiation, which is one of the big ones that happens on the soul path, is test our personal truth and our alignment to our higher self, our soul, gets tested. Do you believe, are you following that inner directive? And I've been there where people are putting you down, or why do you should do this, or you must have fear because you're not doing that, and you should do this and that. And then, right?
Yeah, yeah.
9/11 was like that for me. People thought I had all this fear because I canceled my flight because I was having dreams of people being sucked out of a plane and the side of the plane opening. And I was supposed to be flying that Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was, Monday. I would have been in the thick of it. And even my therapist that I was working with said, well, it sounds like you have a lot of anxiety. I go, no, it's not anxiety. I'm getting a message. I go, I like turbulence on planes. I go, I think, and roller coasters. My friends were saying, oh, Michele, do you have a lot of stress right now? You're working more. And I'm like, no, I don't. It's not that. And then, of course, 2 weeks later, that happened. And I canceled my flight, and people were like, well, why are you aren't you taking this too far? So I hear you, girl. Okay, I'm going to let you guys talk.
Okay. I don't. So, do you have a particular question you want to ask me? I understand where you're coming from, and I understand where a lot of things, because I'm a very old soul, Zoe.
Yeah.
I've been around this rodeo many times. And it's like when you have a Stradivarius, you know, and it's one of the, it's a very elite violin. And when you have a Stradivarius, or when you have a Rolls Royce or a Bentley, you're not really happy with Fords or, you know, Edsels or, you know, anything else when you've had the best, in a sense. It's created such a bigger window for you. It's like if you've had chocolate cake and you never had a Neapolitan cake, you know, red, white, and blue, or whatever it is. Your window widens. And when your window widens, you're an old soul also. That's why I think there's a resonance between us that I can hear. And your old soul is saying, well, you know, I expected more. It had an agenda. Our old souls carry luggage, honey. Some can be Louis Vuitton and some can be a trash bag, but it's luggage, and you carry it around, and you look through those eyes. I have looked through this world in many eyes. I remember my opening up as a baby and seeing, oh, I'm not in Egypt anymore. What a shock. You know, I was really shocked as a child, and I really wasn't saying anything because I didn't really understand where I was. All this was going on around me wasn't.
Where am I?
See, I think you have the same kind of resonance. You're not really familiar, or the timing may be off when you're doing this or something there, because you're in a different perception, as Michele is talking about. Perceiving is very clear that you're adapting some kind of back thoughts or whatever we have as in that perception is the filters. It's the filters. So as long as you clean out those filters and you see, well, when did I ride that Rolls Royce? When I was riding that Rolls Royce, I was feeling this. And you bring that feeling, you bring that healing part of you to this incident or whatever. You see? So it's not like you have a big bag of toys. You have a big bag of toys, Zoe.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I feel this, how I feel it coming in, and it's really causing everybody so much stress because you need to do something, you need to take action. And I was like, listen, I've had so many tower moments, and I'm physically the whole right side of my body is like currently broken. I'm having issue with my foot. You know, I was hit by a truck like a month and a half ago, and so I was just like, you need to do this, you need to do that, and I was like, I think I need to be still and allow for things to unfold. You know, and it's just so hard. People are like, well, you need to move.
Well, you can do this. You can do this. Talk to your right side of your body and say, okay, what can I do to mend with you? how we can mend together. I was blown up by a manhole cover in Berkeley in 2005.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay? Yeah. So the doctor said you're going to be a paraplegic, you'll never walk again, and I looked at them and said, that's a nice story. It sounds like all your little books you learned in medical school, and you're great with your stories, but I have a different Mother Goose. I like fairy tales, and I believe in Cinderella, and I'm going to Hawaii, and I'm going to heal myself. And I did. And I'm not paraplegic. I'm still walking, and I lost 2 inches. Okay, I look, I'm not as tall, but okay. I'm still here, and I'm still who I am because I called in all of my body right away. I was blown up all over to the universe. I had to call in all of my body. So call it in.
Yeah.
Talk to. A lot of people don't have discussions with their body. Talk to it. Say, what can we do? What can we do to mend?
It's really amazing actually to see. I lost like half of my right heel, and it's growing back. Like it's physically reforming into itself, and people are like tripping out. And I'm like, listen, this is what I'm reprogramming the cells to do this, and it comes with being still and resting and all of this stuff. And people are just, well, this and that, and you need to fight these people and all this. I'm dealing with lawyers and all this other where I'm living, and I'm like, listen, it's all gonna happen. Everybody's like, action, action, action. I was like, no. And every time I just take a breath, then the next thing happens. Someone sends in this other person, and then all of a sudden this next thing is gonna unfold. I really do feel like a piece of it is there's somebody. This is what I wanted to kind of touch base with you guys about. I feel like there's somebody else or something else coming in that is like what I'm kind of waiting for to manifest for my next phase. I'm wondering if you see that or tap into that at all.
I do see that, but I see, Zoe, that because you have that thought process and you're kind of looking for. Did I cut you off?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. This phone's kind of crazy to me. But anyway, I see that you're stepping in front of your medicine, honey, about waiting for this next person. You're allowing yourself to not touch your power. You're saying, okay, I know this person, and it may be true. It may be all true that they're coming in and all. I feel that is coming for you. Many, many more things. And the universe doesn't want to. It's like Michele and I. We don't want to give you the full story because we want you to experience it. We want you to go through it as your whole body takes it in. In these incidents is what we go through. We take it in, and then we begin to assimilate but we're not expecting the universe to bring us that thought pattern to us in that way. You have to let go of that. You have to let go of that. Concentrate on being with these kind of people that you want. Don't say I'm going to attract them. Be them. You see, they're there to mirror us. You see, be who you want to attract. Be who you are.
Yeah,
you have that in you, and it's much more. It's much more than you expect that way.
Yeah, and all these beautiful people are showing up and presenting themselves in new forms of community and everything, which is really beautiful, because the more that I get into the depth and do the inner work, the more these other people that I thought were necessary components in life are kind of falling to the wayside, and I know that's hard for a lot of people to digest, that sometimes just because you know somebody or just because you love somebody doesn't mean that they're going forward with you on your journey always.
Okay, and I also hear in your speech or in your talk that you're kind of leaning on how other people think. Whether you're not really doing that and consciously not doing that, it's still what you're. In other words, a bird, it's a song, and you're singing a song. I'll give you an example. I had a bunch of people. We went out. We were young then, and going out drinking, and I said to this one guy, you've been drinking a lot. Don't drive home. I'll drive you. And he said, no, I'll be fine. But and he got in there and he said, no, I'm going to be fine. And I said, okay. And he said, yeah, okay. No, I feel like I'm going to have an accident. I said, well, then you are. That's why I feel like I'm going to drive you. And I did. And he was okay with that. But in other words, he already had that programmed, or he was going to be fine and he would be in an accident. You see, he already put that whole agenda together, and that's how we do it. Or you hear a lot of people, oh, I hope I don't screw up. I hope I don't, win this prize. I know if I do, something's going to happen, and then I'll screw up before. I hear it all the time where they go forward, they take a step forward, but in their mind and in that perception and in that line of consciousness, they've already taken the fall. You hear that?
Because they've already decided, whether you think you can or you cannot. Either way, you're right in the end.
Yeah. So,
okay, gang, I'm back.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. I got a weird thing that just happened. I cannot. No, Paolo. Okay, I'm telling you, my guides Spirit is playing with me. Okay, you know how okay, you're gonna love this. Okay, you remember I told you the story, and I think you did the pick a card. Okay, the pick a card.
Yes.
That journey of love somehow got in my T-shirt on my abdomen. Remember?
Yes.
I don't know how it got. I didn't feel it. I was walking around my house. I sit down to do the pick a card readings. I feel something in my T-shirt. Okay, guess what happened? Paolo, what the hell? Let me tell you guys. Okay, okay, so I'm getting my coffee. I muted myself so you guys can talk, and because it's weird on Blog Talk, we have a delay, so we can talk. We talk into each other.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the phone gets disconnected. I lost connection. So
I said that to Zoe. I felt a disconnection. I said to Zoe, did I disconnect from you? Didn't I say that, Zoe?
Yeah.
Must have been about
but get this.
Time. Yeah.
Get this.
Yeah.
So I have on my phone, obviously, encoded or put, what is it, fast dial or whatever in the phone book, Awakening.
Okay.
So I scroll through the phone book. Awakenings is first. I hit Awakenings. And I press it, and a voice comes on. Not the automated voice, you have lost connection with the podcast, do you want to continue, and then me put my code in.
Yeah.
No, it's hi, Michelle, and I'm like, this sounds like Dale. I'm like, hi? Who is this? He says, it's Dale. I go, Dale? I'm like, oh, those two, Monkey and Dorsey. For the last week, Monkey has been coming to me. Like in dreams, when I'm walking, visions, astral plane. Dorje came to me a little bit, but Monkey has been coming to me. And so I asked, where am I calling, Dale? I go, this is not Blog Talk Radio. I go, we just got disconnected, and now Spirit connected me with you. I saw what I picked, Awakenings,
Yeah.
So, and I don't even think she's not even in my phone book on this phone because it's my office phone. So I'm like, where am I calling? And she goes, Costa Rica. I go, Costa Rica, you're still in Costa. I go, okay, that is so weird. How did that happen? And I asked, how is everything? She said everything was, fine. And she's going to be here, I guess, on the 19th. But what the hell, gang? Spirit, when there wants to be, I've been having situations like that lately, like all these physical, like, you need to connect with this person. You've been thinking about this person. You need to connect with this person. And obviously,
so much.
Wow. Talk about.
So who is, you said Gail? Gail? Who is?
Dale. I took care of her little doggy beings while she was moving to Costa Rica. I took care of little Monkey. That's a whole other story, too, because Monkey had come to me and didn't want to go to Costa Rica, and I didn't, I waited, tuned into my meditation, and then like a week later after this Monkey coming to me, she said, could you take care of my dogs while I move stuff back and forth? And I'm like, yeah, well, by the way, this is the message I had gotten And then it turned out while she was there, a dog did attack another little dog, so it was good that the little dog wasn't there. The other dog is okay, but could have been worse. So who knows what's going on with. There's just so much of this kind of intervention, and honestly, when you're living more from perception, this happens. That consciousness, finding something you lost, Spirit uses technology a lot. That the electrical magnetic frequency of phones and.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, yeah. Anyways, Zoe, I'm going to scoot. I hope you're done. Well, we have other people on the line.
Yeah.
Wait, we've got an 845. Who's 845?
You're welcome.
And keep people out of my mind. I'm reprogramming. I got hit very hard in my head, so I'm reprogramming the brain. So that's why it's really, really important to just stay.
Yeah, you are. Okay. That's a good point. All right, sweetie. Talk to you later.
To catch up with you guys. Big hug. Ciao.
Bye.
Big hug.
Okay, number's 347-539-5122. Press 1 on the keypad to get in the queue. Paula, wasn't that a trip?
That's a trip, yeah.
I looked at it. It said Awakenings, and I clicked redial. And I'm like, did you call me? I said, and she goes,
over.
Huh?
I don't think the story of Monkey is not over yet, I still think that Monkey may come to you, may be with you. I don't know why, but that could happen.
Yeah, Monkey, that being has such a strong energy. When I was taking care of her, I would look at her and go, because she's a very regular dog. I mean, not like Yoshi, you could just see the wisdom and just the consciousness. And I look at Monkey and I go, because Monkey just wants to play, have fun, get petted, go to the cafe, sit on the chair, explore. And I'm like, yeah, right? Maybe that was the lesson. And I'm like, I would look at Monkey and I'm going, you are so advanced, but yet you have this air of just, play, look at me. I mean,
right.
Yeah, but boy, I got to see what. I hope I can connect with her to see what the heck is.
Boy.
Well, I'm open. I mean, I listen to I listen to these signs. You know me, Paolo. You know me a long time. When things like that happen, I take pause and because I know it's all coming from Source or God through this. There's something going on. I don't usually just slough it off, but I can only do what I can do.
That's right. That's right.
That's
true. We all we can do exactly. Yeah.
Oh, we got another caller. Let's see who we have here. Hi, you're on air. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, you're on air. Hi.
Echo chamber.
Echoey. We can Hello. We can come back to you. Yeah, are you on a speaker or something?
Sorry, is that better?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
yes.
sorry.
We're like in a tunnel.
I apologize.
Who is this?
My name is Catherine. I'm calling from New York.
Oh.
Hey, Catherine. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a question, please, if you're taking questions or...
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm actually putting some papers together to give to an attorney because of a dispute that my mom and I are having with the company. The company's name starts with the letter T. And the lawyer's name is David. I was just wondering what you might be picking up around this, if this is in fact the right course of action, if it'll be a good outcome. Just whatever you might be picking up, I appreciate.
Yeah. I don't feel that this is a right action. I don't feel it is. I don't feel that. I feel there's something inside either your mom or you that kind of know this already. and yet the way things are going down for you and your mom, this is an action that you feel you're cornered to take.
Yes.
Okay? So it's a lot of pressure. And I feel like you don't want to disappoint your mother, and so you're kind of being her ally. But I feel like your heart is not in it, and your mother's heart is really not in it. It's not where you want to spend your time and quality time on the planet doing this. You see, so I feel like, you know, if you do that, this is going to take up a lot of energy, a lot of what they call the mind space, and I feel like that there could be alternatives of dealing with that, and not having to get into a legal situation. Okay, that's my feeling.
So talk to them myself is what you're saying.
Yeah,
I could resolve.
Yeah. Take it out of the court system. Take it to your level of beings. You know, the conscious beings we are, and see if there can be another way of settling this.
Okay. Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that greatly.
Okay.
Thanks for calling in, Catherine.
Thank
big
you.
hug.
Thank you. Big hug to you both. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, you're on air with Paolo and Michele. Hello.
Hi, Paolo and Michele. This is Kate.
Hey, Kate. Hey, good to hear from you. Hello, Kate.
Hi, Paolo.
Hello.
Did you have a question?
Yeah.
For either of us or both of
March
us? Or
and April were a little rough. Like when Saturn kind of kicked my butt, I had a lot of lessons learned quickly, and so I feel over that hump. And so coming up this summer, it's feeling good. I'm feeling expansion. So anything you see of what that was about in March and April, and are things moving forward?
Okay, give me. You got to give me something a little more specific.
Yeah. What was what about?
Yeah. I can go in that with depth, but that would take a longer reading.
A private reading, yeah.
Something I wouldn't want you to have on the air.
I guess, well, a lot of things happened in March and April. I won't go on that. But I guess I've been doing moving around a lot for a year. I've been doing one kind of work that keeps me moving, and I'm ready now to settle and have a job that be in one place now, starting from now, this summer.
Okay, one thing I'm getting, I'll jump in and then you can, Paula. One thing I'm getting with you is a lot of this, because remember I was talking earlier on the podcast, if you were on at the beginning, of a lot about clearing old narratives and beliefs. And and we're so physical here. So one of the things that happens when we're in a part of the awakening where we need to clear old narratives or old beliefs or ideas or identifications with ourselves or life in general, is movement. Yeah. There could be a lot of movement to different, because every time you move, it stirs things up. You have a possibility for a new perspective, a new, opening to something new influences. So that's, I feel like, why a lot of people right now are in transition. It's also that Uranus and Taurus was trining that Saturn in Capricorn, right? And then, of course, when Saturn went into Aquarius, it started squaring it and making all that movement. Yeah, making it rough. Yeah, making it, more irritating. See, with the trine, it's like, well, you can move. You can have a different idea. You can do this. You can. But then a lot of times people don't act upon that. So that when it went into, now we're in Pisces, so it's about creating new structures, and structures will be dissolving that no longer suit us, right? So you're going to see, a lot of people are going to see a lot more transition, a lot more moving, or jobs that keep you moving, or this doesn't work and that doesn't work. And it's throwing things off. It's like after you move a lot, it's like, well, I'm not going to buy this now. I'm not going to take this, or I'm not going to invest in that, or I don't really need that big of a place, or I can have a smaller yard. I don't need to buy all of that lawn, chair stuff. Or do you see what I'm saying? So keep attuned. This is for you, Kate, and everyone listening. Keep attuned to the realizations. Allow yourself to have realizations through all of this movement, because people will settle again. Although my prediction, and I've said this a few years ago, and I think I may have even said it this year, but I definitely said it in some of my channelings, that people are going to be more mobile, more remote and mobile, meaning you may, not just digital nomad kind of thing, but people may stay with someone for 2 weeks or a month, or someone's like remodeling. It's like old school when someone was having a baby, family members would come and stay. That kind of thing. So we're going to be a little more tribal, nomadic, that, I can work anywhere, so I'm here a month, or I lived here for 6 months. So that is going to be part of the new paradigm, and the new economy is going to be based on some kind of movement. It's like the soul is restless. So I would say if that's happening to you, embrace it, because at some point you will have a center place, right? A base camp, so to speak. Okay, that's what I'm getting. I know the download. Well, you said something, Kate, and the spirit came in, and the guides were here. Like, you got to tell her this. She's breaking up old patterns of thought.
I've done that for years. I've already done that for years, so now I'm off that train. I don't.
Well, you don't know. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, that's connecting. Please, and I say with this the most love. You don't know that on a soul level from your higher self, you see. So that's what's being disrupted right now. We're being pushed to connect in more through the higher self to our soul desires, and that might be why people are lightening up a bit. You may be moving out of the country, So I would just remain open at this point. Go ahead, Paolo. That's all.
Well, I've kind of gotten into the consciousness of I'm already moving now. I'm already on a train. It's very true. It's very true that we're all moving and all of it. But I've seen this influence on the planet. This is something that I really like to address here. The influence of the cyber world. Now, in any world, in any part of our consciousness, we have that yin and yang. We have the black and the white. We have all of that. We have the rainbow and all of that. And yet this cyber consciousness is coming in very forcefully. It's like the AIs, they're taking over the medical, and so on and so on. Many, many, many examples. And I go back to when I was in Hawaii, and I was at a meeting with people, and a little boy was playing on his iPad, whatever they had then, and his father got very upset and came to me after the meeting and said, should I be upset that my little boy, he plays this game where he shoots bears? And I thought, wow. And I thought to myself, well, would you rather have him shoot real bears or these cyber? And he saw that. He saw that the kid got his aggression out through this. But yet it's a fake aggression, okay? It's not real. We're taking this world that is cyber, even by our messaging, even in our world right now, we are distancing and being in our own kind of cell. And it's really interesting how this world is coming into that cyber world of movement. And we're talking about that right now. What is this movement? But you've got to understand that this movement is what we perceive it to be from this distancing, from this disconnection, okay? We're not walking up to people in Venezuela right now, but we can be in face-to-face with them, you see. And this connection has a different aspect to it that's kicking us into this new energy. And so I feel like you're kind of like you've been kind of like warming up your batteries. You've been kind of like, refueling and all of that, realigning and all of those three things. And that's what's going to be where you're going to understand. And when you understand something, you're going to get under it, and that's what you've been through, is under it and standing up now. You're now standing up. And standing up means that now you can have your space for who you are. You can be who you are. Do you understand that? One of the most powerful totems in the American Indian, I was with the Navajo, was the little mouse. The little mouse, because he could run up the pole, and then they could put up their teepees, and they called him the song mouse. Well, you could just sing your song now in a teepee, you see. And that little mouse was the one that allowed that space to happen. So it's that little mouse inside you, that little part of you that's moving, and you've got to say to it, no, I don't want you to have these past narratives about it. I don't want you to have anything. I want you to climb to the top of the pole and hold that space for me to be I can sing my song.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
I love that.
That's great.
Yeah. One of the things, too, that I think that's happening, if you look at it, really from a spiritualist point of view and metaphysically, is all this going into the mental realm? And we see this astrologically, because now instead of a preponderance and focus on Earth or Earth signs, we're going into air and fire. So I do feel, again, we're the training wheels, and this is why I like to look metaphysically at things, is that all of this interconnection through this podcast, phones, technology, AI, is so people can get used to and start opening up to the idea of the interconnectedness of everything and everyone, and eventually other dimensions. So these are, if we take the higher viewpoint, we can see that these are training wheels for intuition, psychic abilities to be opened up to, remote viewing, telepathy, these latent abilities that many people have that aren't encoded because we don't have the messaging or the framework for them. So they're canceled out, not even believed, or they're canceled out. So yes, as we ascend, integrating the fifth dimension and above, we are going to be more amorphous, and we are going and porous, and we are going to be whatever that means for somebody. Maybe it's ideas being mobile. We're going to have less stuff. That's another thing, and you already see that trend with people repurposing things, people not buying as much, or when they buy things they return the jars or they bring their own jars. So there is this movement of I don't have to I don't need to anchor or have a lot of things or stuff to have an identity as a soul, to identify, to feel safe on the planet. I am the planet. The planet is me. So I found it's a very profound time, but I think for a while people are going to get caught up on not look at the bigger picture. All right, Kate, thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
I think she dropped.
What a strong show today.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, the energy is really going boom, boom,
Sue
boom.
is saying in the chat, wow, I just got an error on Blog Talk saying they could not find this page, and I had done absolutely nothing to bring it on. You two must be very powerful today. Well, Paolo and I have had definitely some major psychic phenomena happening when we get to, that's for sure.
That's true. That's been true, yeah.
We'll have to share that when we do our thing in June. Oh, we got another caller, some of the stuff that we've gone through. We've got a couple more callers. So, guys, we're going to be going overtime, OT. So you want to listen by phone. Hi, you're on air. Hello.
Hello. Hi. My name is Maria. Hi.
Hello, Maria. Welcome.
Maria. Okay.
All right.
Hi, Maria.
How are you?
Good, Maria. How are you doing? How are you feeling today? How are things going?
Not a good day today because I'm a little upset. Sunday I got a lot of water from my roof. I got an insurance. They want to pay. They don't want to pay because I got a panel. I don't know what to do anymore. This mailer, Well, what do you think? They're going to pay? What am I going to do?
Are they going to pay to have the roof fixed? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. You think they're going to do it insurance? Or the panel?
Everyone wants these things with paying. And I do feel I feel they will, but I don't know if all of it. And the thing is, there's this weird energy going on. I don't know if it's this Uranus and Sun conjunct Uranus coming up. Eclipse energy. There seems to be a lot with money being held back or delayed right now. I think it's going to clear. I feel it could clear up within the next few weeks to months. Any thought you have on it, Paolo?
Well, I feel like it's going to happen very quickly, that you're going to feel everything switch around you. And when that happens, it's like the sun coming out on a rainy day. You just feel that good energy inside. Bring that energy inside. And when you bring that energy inside, start talking to your ancestors about what you need on this planet, how they can assist you. You see, when that sun comes in, drink it in, and things will turn. Things will change.
Oh, thank you. I can say anything. Monday is my birthday. It's going to be my birthday.
Muy cumpleaños. Yeah.
Wow.
That you should
all
take
right,
that.
It's good to hear from you, Maria. Just beautiful. Go and see the flowers. See the flowers. Spend some time. See the flowers. Big hug. I think we got one more here.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Wait.
Muchas gracias.
Maybe that was the last one.
Yeah.
Maria. Italian. She's Paolo from Italy. She's got Maria. You are going to be going to Italy. Yeah, comes from Italy. Sue in the chat. Love listening to the two of you. Have a great rest of the week. You too, Sue. You too. Have a beautiful week. Wow, Paolo. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, here we are. I knew there was another one.
Okay.
I don't know. I like the energy coming through. Okay, let's see. Hi, you're on air.
Hi,
Hello?
Michelle and Paolo. It's Jennifer in Canada.
Hi, Jennifer in Canada. Welcome. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
I really like what you said about, I think if we actually jumped into the Matrix, it might be too much of a shock. So the video chatting and stuff like that, making it like a little bit of a easy entry for us. I love that. That's the first time I heard that, and it really resonated with me.
Yeah, and if you look through everything we've had in life, it's prepared us. It's always in these steps. Even like yoga, meditation, then it leads to mindfulness, leads to other things, studying other things. Hypnotherapy. There's always been these kind of outer things to help people, open up to something within themselves. Even intuition, there's a lot more with that, or the gut knowing, or even the heart math research and science around the heart, that it actually has more sensory receptors than the brain and processes more information from the brain, and the information goes from the heart to the brain. Well, as a holistic health counselor and working with the body-mind medicine, we've always known that the gut, what are you processing? What can't you stomach? What can't you assimilate? Or what are you integrating? So we've always known, right, Paolo, that the stomach.
That's right.
And just now they're talking about the immune system is in the stomach. So now they're saying it's the stomach, the heart, and the brain. These are the main. Of course, every part of our body takes information in, but those are the main centers. So, yeah, Jennifer, welcome to the podcast. And I don't know if you have a question or anything else you want to share. We'd love to hear.
Just one, as we let go and, you know, we're trying to, you know, surrender, there have been several occasions where I've been given the opportunity to transition. But when it comes down to it, even in my head, I'm not afraid of passing on. I have no fear of that. But when push comes to shove, there is a lot of resistance. Is that coming from my ego?
Push comes to shove as far about...
Well, when I'm given the opportunity to cross over, I feel like I'm very resistant to it.
Yeah. Because the life force animating energy doesn't want to do that. It wants to live. It wants to thrive. And the body wants to live. So we have, you know, we're not just our body. We're not just our mind. We express and experience through our body and our mind and our emotion. We're beyond that. But on the earth plane, these are ways of expressing. So, yes, your body wants to live, wants to thrive. All the intelligence within, all the cells, all the cellular memory is programmed for life. You have the life force animating energy within you. And in consciousness, in the mind, so it's a very small part of the mind that may want to check out. The rest wants to express as soul and have soul experience on this earth plane.
Yeah, this is a body suit. It's a body suit. Okay. Remember that. It's a body suit. Your spirit, your consciousness, all of that is willing and life enhancing, but the body suit may say, you know, I'm tired. You need a new
well,
model.
the mind, because the body wants to go. You know.
Yeah.
Right. You see that when people are crossing over. I've worked as a shaman and also a bereavement counselor. The body is the last thing really to go. The body wants to hang on. It has its own timeline. I guess that's a way to put it, right, Paolo?
It kind of. It has its own agenda. It has its own agenda.
Yes.
It knows life.
Yes.
It knows life. It doesn't know anything else. You see? It has no information about the other. And your mind and your consciousness does. So that's where the no fear comes from. But the body says, well, I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah.
You see?
Well, it's instinctual. Now that you say that, Paolo, that's a good point, because it's like animal beings. They don't contemplate crossing over anything.
No.
They're not. They just are living. They just live until they don't, and they're in that instinctual awareness.
Yeah. We're kind of the only animal that does those tricky things. We like to amuse ourselves.
Exactly. That's so
we
true.
do.
We do.
And, you know, the most interesting thing I've found on this planet, no matter where I've gone, and no matter what religion, no matter what thought process, or whatever was going down, was this, well, you've got to be go till you're in consciousness, you're enlightened, so that and it's all about death. And I thought, why? What's such a big thing? Okay, we're all going to die. What's new? It's like, why do we push all of that energy about transition when that's what we do from birth? It's an interesting thing to me to have all that focus, all that attention about death. Well, honey, let's do that when we're dead. I don't see. It's very, very confusing to me about it. But I don't fear my death. But I know, when I came into this, as I said before, when I came into this planet, I thought, well, where am I? This is not where I was. I knew something was up. And yet I could, as I was growing and growing in this environment, I'm going, well, I did this before, but I did it this way. And it was my bodysuit that was 5, but my mind was like maybe 30 or 40. I didn't have a childhood. I did, because I had already experienced these, and I already brought them with me. And no one was, the whole universe was on this one. Everybody on the earth wants you to be on the earth. Well, some of us go, we'll play that game, but I'm not really from the earth. I'm from the Pleiades. I'll play, you guys can play your game, but I just couldn't understand it. And the bodysuit just kind of went along. You know, I watched my bodysuit do these things, and I asked myself, why did I do that? Or why did I say that? I had no clue. I still don't have a clue. And I figured at 74, I'm 74 of last week, I don't have a clue, so I really don't have to grow up. I didn't grow up until 74, and I'm not growing up after either. It's true. It's true. We're eternal children. We're eternal children. We're, you know, that's why Michelle has her sandbox of the soul, because we're eternal children.
Exactly.
That's where we all are. You know, and the sweet thing I heard from an English actor. He's an elder actor, very, very accomplished, and he said a very beautiful thing. I caught it on Instagram, and he said, "I'm traveling around the world. I do all these parts. I meet a lot of people. I've got my life is good, but yet I go my hometown in England. I go, I don't know where it was, Buckingham or something, and I get in a cab, and the cab driver says to me, 'Where you going, love?' And he says, and he just cried. He said, 'Now I know I'm home.' He said, 'If we could all just treat each other like that. Where you going, love?' That says it all. That says it all to me. And I find that a beautiful place, and that's the place I want to live. So other people can live in their places that their narratives have, but I'm in that, where you going, love? That's where I live. You know?
Oh, Jennifer, you have amazing energy. You really, really do. I really feel blessed that you called in. I feel very, very uplifted.
Nice. Oh, thank you for your show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for calling in. Did you get your question answered?
Yes, I did, and some.
And then some. Well, that tends to happen on this podcast. Leo, I won't say not sparse on words. I've had to learn to edit down, but I don't always do a great job of it.
Oh, my.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
Big hug. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Boy, is that ever
Anybody
true.
else in the queue?
Let's see. Okay, I see lots of people in the queue, but do you have a raise your hand? Oh, God, that sounds... But that is. It's a little hand in the switchboard in the back. You know, raise your hand if you got a question or a comment. Oh, my gosh. I think that's it.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's it. But the other people, they don't have their hand raised. I think they're just listening by phone. So, yeah, if you have a question, a comment, you want to share something, your own perception. See, as soon as I said that, here we go. Hello. Sunray.
Hi, Michelle, Paolo.
I knew it was you. Did I say, is this Sunray? I felt your energy, Sunray.
Well, I just said
I'm like, do I do it? I'm over here like, I know we're in overtime, but do I do it? And I just had to. I was just like, okay, let's do it. I just wanted to say hi. And
what is overtime? What is overtime? I don't even understand that. What is overtime? Please.
I don't know.
I didn't
know there was a limit.
I think it was Lucille Ball used to give her people that worked for her, she would give them a watch, or she would give them some kind of time, and she would inscribe it with, "I always have time for you." That's what overtime is.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there is overtime, but I don't know how long it is. Like, it goes to 1:30. It seems to work 15 minutes. Sometimes we've gone to, like, 1:50, and one time we were going, and then it just cut off. So I have no clue what happens after the hour and a half mark. It's how long we have, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's set for that.
Speaking of time, it's just been. Okay. I feel like it's been since the last time I spoke to you. It feels just like a blink, and I've grown so much. So, like, sorry, one, it's already Wednesday, and then two, it's like I had called, and the last time I spoke to you, Paolo, you'd mentioned about this relationship at the end of the year, which formed. It was quick, though, and it fizzled real fast, and I've grown since then, and it makes a lot of sense with certain things. So
But my mouth speaks, but it talk about timeline. I have no idea how it relates to the people I talk to, because it's a different timeline. And also when you're on air, there's kind of a cell around it that you don't want the laundry, out you know what I mean, exposed. And so you've got to kind of say, okay, I just let it go. I let it, because it's like whatever I say is going to be the appropriate thing for the person that wants to hear it, you see. It's like Calvin Coolidge said one time. I'm doing a lot of quoting of elderly people. I wonder what that means.
A lot of elderly, like Calvin, that's like 30s or something, right? 30s? I remember from school. He was one of the presidents, right?
Yeah, he was the president. And he said, well, you don't go in with your
30s, Sunray, 30s
you want
or
to
something.
Talk to,
long time ago. 20s, 30s. Anyway, go on.
Okay. I can do George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe.
Okay, Paolo. My history is not geography, if I admit. It's not so great.
No, I knew all my friends. My teacher in 4th grade said to the class once, George Washington is the father of our country. And I went up there and said, he never made love to my mother. I was in 4th grade. I said, he's not my father. Then I found out he had wooden teeth. But anyway, that's another thing. So yeah. So anyway, you just allow it to be what it is, and that's what we're all kind of doing. We're all kind of getting there. We're all saying, I don't have the energy to deal with this. I don't have that. I don't have that. I have the energy to be with people, communicate with people, and communicate with people who are, open. And that's it. There's that quality of life we can all hold, and no one can take it from us. Taki Shange, this poet, wrote for Suicide When the Rainbow Is Not Enough, a very beautiful poem book and play. It was on Broadway. And she said, you can do a lot of things, but you can't take my stuff. It's my stuff. You can't change it. You
that's
can't
your
take it.
Experience and your perspective, right? And your light.
Right. And that's
your reflection.
This bright light. And if we shine it and we stay in that light, it's going to bring out your light. And your light's going to bring out another light. And pretty soon we won't be, it's almost like some people, I can't even look at their light, it's so bright. Because that's how it is. That's how we are.
Well, I can't wait to meet you in person.
Yes, I'm a New Age evangelistic. I'm very, very evangelistic.
I might blind you.
I could be in a tent with the rattlesnake and all that. That would be fun. But it's the old paradigm, Now we have this beautiful podcast through these wonderful, conscious, wonderful people, and they happen to be my friend Michele Meiche. So it's makes the planet a lovely place to play in. And I think people who call in and are connected with this are all lovely playmates. I really do.
Yeah, we're all children just on this soul playground, experiencing the wonders of putting our fingers in the sandbox.
Yes.
It's finally all
and
decided
the mystery of what's in the sandbox. Like you're playing in a sandbox and you might find like someone else's lollipop. You're like, ooh, very flavored.
That's so true.
Well, that's right.
What is in
there? Lollipop.
I didn't know there was a lollipop in here.
Lollipops. That's a great name. Yeah. There was that song, Lollipop, Lollipop.
Okay. Now I'm only a 90s child.
Paolo loves old, I don't know what they are, musicals or stuff. He knows all that stuff.
Just in there. I mean, it's when you everything that happens since you're born, it's part of you. It's part of you. The Holocaust is part of you. The moon deal was a part of you. Everything is a part of you. You have so much in one lifetime. It's just too much. And if you're interdimensional, which a lot of people I know and are, You have all the other planets that bring in their another consciousness. I mean, when I used to talk to Michele, we could go on the astral, and it was like nobody was on the freeway. Now it's like traffic jam. You know, you got to sit there on the astral and go, okay, wait, it's my turn next. No, it's my turn. You know, it's just how that is. And then pretty soon another chakra emerges, like a flower. We keep go like that. One of the favorite my books was A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and a flower grows up under that through that cement. That's how the earth is. It moves, constantly moves, just for the light.
Wow. Well, wow. Sunray, before we go, because we may have just we got another caller. Maybe we try to get in. Here we go. Maybe I have 2 hours. I don't know. But did you have anything else you want to share? Anything you want to ask or share?
I mean, real quick, do you see, I'm in a position where I'm coming to the end of this possible movement. Do you see me moving anytime soon, like within the next couple of months?
Yeah, I do. I see like you're ready. You're really ready for all new narratives, all new kind of energy. Yeah, I do see you moving. Yeah. I am.
Okay.
Yeah,
sweet.
ready.
Thank you. I am ready. I feel it. Let's go. All right.
Get those shoes where you don't have to tie them, that you can pop your foot right in, because you're going to be moving, honey.
Oh, yeah. My foot's ready. Thank you so much, Paolo. Thank you so much, Michele. I love you both so much.
Love you. Big hug.
Love you.
Bye.
Big hug.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Sweetie.
Just going to say, those of you, this April to October is a really important pivotal time for moving, if you're in transition, movement, and either seeing and or being where your next step is, next level, or your next base camp, where you're going to be situated. But between now and then, we have a lot, it's showing even not just psychically, but as in the astrology, it is showing a lot of transition and change, or a lot being up in the air. But you're going to start seeing, I'm moving here. This is where I'm going, or this is where I'm relocating. So things are going to be a lot clearer and, to some degree, stabilized. I think we can squeeze one more in. Hi, you're on air.
Oh. Hi, this is Christy calling.
Hi, Christy. Welcome.
I couldn't resist calling after hearing you guys. Every time I hear you guys on air together, there is so much joy and so many great insights. I just okay, if we're just going to keep going and
Christy,
they want to pick up, maybe I'll just push one.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to hear what you guys are doing in June. Whatever you're doing in June, that's going to be very exciting, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, are you on the list to get info, or did you email me?
But I can ask you on Patreon on Saturday.
It's that Christy. Oh, Christy. Christy.
That Christy,
yeah. Christy. Oh, yes. I thought you said Christy. And then I'm like,
yeah,
familiar. Oh, Christy. Oh, Christy. Okay, I thought you said Chrissy at first.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah. I'll let you know. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Be letting everyone know.
Yay.
For my section, Christy, get yourself a bowl and a
not
it could
yet,
be a
Paolo,
bowl and a plate.
Not yet, Paolo.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Please. Okay.
Please. Cheat.
Yeah. No, because there's other stuff that leads up to
steps.
it. And
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
I can go a step.
And we're not doing it now. It's got to be set up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will ask, and if there's no specific answer, that's great. But one thing we always talk about, and you guys are just making me think of all this joy, and Michele, we're always talking about connecting those dots. And I'm lucky because I feel like I have a lot of joy and so many interests, but I don't know if my guides are saying, hey, here's the dot I'd like you to focus on next. Or if not, I'll just keep unfolding as I am and do it that way if there's something specific. But if not,
I like that.
Fine
That's
to just keep unfolding.
Yeah, well, you're going to do that anyway, but it's always going to have a direction. I like that. Yeah,
that's why if there was a directional point that you hear a little more clearly than me.
Yeah, okay.
I'm seeing an animal around you. I'm seeing animals around you, and I'm seeing caretaking of animals around you. What does that mean?
I have a garden and a yard, and I have a cat, and then I take care of the birds in the yard, and there's also wildlife that comes through. I'm paying attention all the time to whatever I am in nature. So I love animals.
See that? I see that growing. I see that growing where you might even develop into assisting certain animals that really will come to you for help. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. What's a dot for Christy?
I see you're really good with that. You really have a healing way with animals.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And that'll grow, potentially or organically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, you have some things you're going to be winding out of, not just quite yet, but a dot is some more space for something that's just yours. Whether it's, a hobby, I more likely feel like it could be something in an environment or in a community. It could be something that would work purpose. So whether it's, what do you call it? Not donating. What do you call it? Volunteering or consult. There's something that you're going to be doing, and or helping someone put something together. I kind of feel like curriculum or packaging. I don't know, something that it's in some kind of form. So something that you're learning or what you're focused on is somehow going to bring you to this place. Like, I need to do this again, or I need to get out there again, or I need this just for me. Because I feel like you give a lot to others, or you have family commitments, or partner, or husband, something. There's something where you have a lot. There's a lot about the other. So there's going to be a shift where you have something that comes in, but it's a time and timing thing. Right now, you don't totally have the time, so the time will be there, and the timing. So that when the time starts getting there, it'll be divine right timing. And that is going to pull some of these, dots that are right now sprinkled around you. It's going to pull it together.
Perfect. That's why I guess I keep following them, right? Because eventually I'll get there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense for you.
Yeah.
It actually does, because I really don't have time to put a lot of focus on something, but I know that sometime I will. Again, I have lots of great interests that just keep me so busy, but I know eventually things will taper as it needs to. But,
as it needs to.
Yeah,
that's the perfect way to put it.
Has to happen. So every now and then I just do that pause and make sure I'm not missing anything.
No, you don't. The timing isn't there, and you also don't have the time. So it's time and timing, but you will have the time in the right timing, if that makes sense.
It so makes sense.
It really
does.
Have the right time, the timing. Wow.
Yeah. And if you have any kind of form with those dots, then take that form and go where you can see the stars and see where you can match that in the sky, and it'll give you it'll give you some information there. Yeah, because dots represent a lot of things. They represent planets. They represent many things. So I always kind of see if that's in the air, it kind of gives me in the sky and the stars. It kind of gives me information.
Neat.
A mirror. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're probably going to get bumped off.
I'm surprised I even got it in, but you guys are amazing together, especially individually.
No, I'm glad
amazing,
you came. I'm glad
together. So much fun.
Well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys always make me smile. I think all of us, and laugh out loud. I'm in my house, just laughing out loud by myself. With my headphones on, people would be like, "What's she doing? What's she listening to?"
Oh, Christy, that's great. Yeah, and so I guess I have anywhere from 1:45 till 2 because it's still going. So who knows?
Yeah, crazy.
Who knows?
All right,
how this
works out. Well, I'll let you guys go, but thank you so much. I'll let you wrap out any way you can. Still.
Okay. All right, Christy. Big hug. I'll talk to you Sunday.
Big hug. Bye,
Saturday,
guys.
Right? Saturdays.
Okay.
Yes, for sure. I love that.
Okay.
All right. Bye, guys.
See you then. Bye.
See ya.
Oh, Paolo.
Oh.
Love it.
Yeah.
So cute, the chuckling. Hey, Jay Stylin's still in the chat. Hey, Jay.
I can't get in these chat rooms anymore. I don't know what I'm not doing. But it says live chat, and I push on it, and nothing happens. But anyway. Or maybe I'm in it.
I don't see you in it.
God. I'm not in it. No, I'm seeing a bunch of words, but I'm not in it.
Oh, well, maybe. I don't know. I don't see everybody that's in the chat, so I don't.
Oh.
I mean, I see some people.
Yeah.
All right, Paolo. Let's see. What's the best way people can get in touch with you if they and also to see your art, the Ancient Bling, and if they want to get a reading or do anything with you.
Instagram is a good way. I kind of dropped out of Facebook for a while, but Instagram I'm on, and my email, paolodoromaui@gmail.com. That's a good way. And yeah.
Okay.
I show my creations on Instagram. I show my creative side of me on Instagram. Usually I expose that to what I'm doing. But Ancient Bling, I don't know what's going to happen with that. It's just been a long process, but it will come. It comes in its own. It's got its own mind.
It's in process.
Right.
It's in process.
I'm in process. It's in process. The planet's in process.
Well, it was great to have you here. And Jay's saying working and listening, always multitasking. Well, I love that. That's one thing I love about the podcasting, especially audio. You can just listen in the background. And we've gone to 201.
Oh, boy. Oh, it may be a
Woo!
first. Are we in
Blast off. Yeah.
Well, you never know. They might let you go longer. Who knows?
Oh, no, I can't. It's just how it's set up. We set it up for a duration.
Oh, I see.
And since they changed years ago, I did have some 2-hour podcasts, 2.5 hour, but they changed the formatting. So certain level you can only do 30 minutes, and then another level I think you can do once a day, an hour and a half or 2 hours. I don't know, an hour something. So I never know with this company. I mean, I'd like to get something with better sound again at some point, but right now this will do. This is doing. We're able to connect.
That's good.
And all right, everybody knows how to get in touch with Paolo D'Oro. Paolo, is wonderful to have you back on and share, and I know everybody loved it, and new people that are listening now are loving it. Oh, I do want to mention to people, please, if you listen to the podcast, if you like it, if you love it, go and review it on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, give it a 5 stars, thumbs up, at least the stars. You can do a positive review. If you have snarky comments, email me at awakeningspodcast@gmail.com. Don't leave the snarky comments. That's so low vibration, please. I mean, most of them are good. I mean, all of them are good. I think there's 2, but, I noticed it over the year, like a few years ago. But I always wonder about the sound. I don't have any control of the sound with Blog Talk. There's something with the that we talk over. There's a delay. There's a delay. And if I was only doing this, years ago, I would get different sound equipment and get things set up. Right now, I just don't have the not only the bandwidth or the time to put into that. So that's why I try to mute or don't talk when the guests. It's hard to have that free flow conversation because I'm aware there is I wasn't aware there was a delay. So if that person, instead of doing a snarky comment, if they had emailed me and said, "Hey, Michelle, I want you to know there's this with the guest and you interrupt each other." But see, we don't hear it like that. There is a pause. There's a delay.
Yeah.
But there's not when you hear it back. There's something where I don't know because it's not on regular phones. Don't do that. So. Oh, thank you, Jay. Give me a review with good vibes. I appreciate it, Jay.
Yeah.
Peace out. Peace out. What else? Yes, connect on see, what is the other thing? Soul Insights and Tarot, and also if you'd subscribe there, and Awakenings podcast or Awakenings with Michele Meiche podcast on YouTube, because we are moving there. I think it's going to be for sure June.
Oh.
All right, Paolo. You can connect with Paolo on Instagram, on Insta. That's the best way. You can DM him there, right, Paolo?
Right. That's the best way. Our Ancient Bling kind of it's up and down. So yeah, Instagram right now is the best way. Mm-hmm. Okay. Or email.
Good.
paulodoro@gmail.com. paulodoromaui@gmail.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, till next time. Big hug, shine bright.
Thank you so much for inviting me again. I always like to play here. So I'll get new toys next time. We'll have a great time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Talk later. Bye. All right, Soul Lights, very, very cool connecting with all of you. Thank you, all of you that are listening, because your energy is totally felt. I so appreciate you all, and those of you that were in the chat and sharing your thoughts. Those of you that called in, really appreciate the connecting and sharing. The bubbling interaction. I love it. If you want to do deeper dives, kind of like our discussion that we did today, and even more detailed, in depth, and deeper, going deeper, you can connect with me on Patreon. Join the Soul Path Seeker or Soul Path Journeyer tier, or the Soul Path community as well. Just depends on how much interaction you want, how much connection, how much info, and how much you want to show up. All right, Soul Lights, big hug. Until next time, continue to shine your light, share your insights, and, of course, keep awake.
Awakenings broadcasts every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michele's blog at soulplayground.com. And keep awake.